Okay, so I think the previous team uh, prioritized understanding how to work with the USSD API rather than some of the other things. So I think the back end, I think they did a good job on the back end, but as for the front end and the design feature, that was lacking. And so, I mean, I think you understand the idea. The idea is for with the Sauti marketplace, you guys kind of had a fixed thing to go with, and the UX for that was fixed. But with the Sauti Studio, the idea is that people without programming knowledge can design those kinds of systems by themselves, right? Not dynamic, but fixed. So we're talking about things like bus schedules, church times, the kinds of static information that doesn't necessarily need to be dynamic. I hope that in the documents you've seen, you also saw some of the things that the other services I like. Twilio Studio is a good idea for what I'm shooting for. The trouble, even the name is ripped. Twilio is really awesome, but the thing is it's way too complex for what we're trying to go for. It can do a whole lot of things, and we really just need a dumbed down version of Twilio. So there's Twilio. I hope you've also seen my go at it. I had a go at designing this for myself before I said, screw it, I'm going to go with Lambda to do it. So I hope you've seen that as well.
I
So
don't think we have.
let's see if I have the link for it in my history.
Yeah, I'm looking through the whole document.
Yeah, here we go. So, what are some of the other kind of wireframing apps like this, or wireframing programs are? There's a database one that I can't remember the name of that your guys might be more familiar with. But it's basically just a wireframe. Like the design interface should just be a wireframing thing that is just built into the backend. So I think also for your case, are you UX or are you on the developer side?
I'm personally web development. I think everyone on my team is all web. We might have access to a UX guy, but we're not 100% on that yet.
That's okay. I think a lot of time was spent on the UX, and I don't think the previous UX team was speaking so much with the developer side, and that's when what happened then is the developer side said we can't do this, and so I'm hoping that maybe a more integrated approach to this will happen. I know that, for instance, the design is often just dictated straight up by the libraries, or even the capacity of the libraries. So, like, making the canvas draggable was something that in the current implementation of the library they chose, not possible. So I would really spend some time on the developer side choosing a library that that could do what I'm asking. I chose JS Plum, and I got somewhere. I got pretty close, I think, with that. As I see it, I just needed the back end. But JS Plum with its node and connections is how I decided to go. So you guys need to spend some time properly thinking about that. I don't think the library they've chosen will work. What the library they've chosen is a file structure tree thing that I think that you will either have to end up rewriting or breaking too much. And I think there might be another structure, another library you could use. So I would think about that. I think the features have been documented, but yeah, I mean, you should just be able to build wireframes. Simple as that. And it should then talk to and then, like with that wireframe should be mapped on a a way for an API to work through that that wireframe, which is to get from A to B. And I think they figured that out, but it'll be on you guys to do. So yeah, I think that's it.
I got a list here. I don't know how accurate it is. Let's see if it all gets in there. Yeah, so each sentence.
Okay.
Future release features.
Right. So
You got the drag of the background of the canvas, like you just said.
I never wrote Stripe implementation for donations. Okay, so like these are all good, but they're gonna, like, the canvas comes first. The canvas, I think, needs to be redone. If you look at the previous designs as compared to what it is now, they look nothing alike. Which is not to say you should go with the previous designs, and I'm not sure I'm typically happy with the previous design, although I think it was okay. It was getting there. The canvas is going to need a lot of work. So looking through this, the analytics view for requests made to their API, yeah. Once the canvas is set up and you can deploy it, yes. Stripe implementation for donations, you don't need to worry about payment gateways. I'm not sure why that's in there. Login with Google Facebook, I think that's already there, although I'm not sure. Yeah, it is, because I did it just now. Drag the background canvas. Yeah, this is again the canvas. You should be able to, the wireframes can get very big. If you look at, where did I see it? So if you look at mine, this was more just prototyping. I was kind of messing around with, stuff. But you can see the, wow, this is so crowded. You can see that the wireframe is, oh my gosh. Okay. You can see that this wireframe, like, it's not that complicated, but you can see how it could get more and more complicated. And to be more specific, if you look at Sauti's wireframe, is it that one? No. Yeah, it's this one. If you look at Sauti's information platform as a wireframe, you can see it's insane, right? So you can imagine how they now, to be sure, like, this is all draggable and everything, but I need you guys to be able to design the part where I can change all this. You know, currently how we do it is just in this table, right? When you're at message 428, you press 1 or 2, it takes you to message 74, and so on. So that's how we currently do it, but I'd like a system which would allow us to rapidly implement some very simple fixed flows in a visual manner, in a manner that I was going for here with, you know, if I wanted to.
Okay. That's the most important, is just being able to scale with.
Yeah. Yeah, so if I return back to your chat list there.
Yeah, it probably doesn't move at all, knowing, I mean,
Yeah.
they don't teach much of this at Lambda, so this would be kind of like, you know, something.
Yeah, this certainly stretched my skills, and you know, well, I guess I'm not actually that good, so but it was a good stretch for me. So autosave, yeah, I suppose saving once the canvas is figured out. Ordering the text number, yeah. So if you notice, I can't speak to theirs. I'm not sure I even want to like continue speaking to theirs, because it's very confusing to me what is a screen and what is an option, right? So if you go on mine, this is the screen, and these are the options. It's confusing to me how this flows exactly, and that wasn't like the design that was developed. So ordering the text number is non-existent here, but you can see on mine that what they mean by that is this like option, select 1 for option 1, select 2 for option 2, select 3 for option 3. If I put it in another option, you'll notice that it has option 4. So yeah, just like that.
Okay.
I think that's it. I mean, as I said, I think the canvas is the main priority before we can start the other stuff, because analytics come after. I would think analytics would come after you've got something to test. What else? Saving. You can't do that until you've decided how you're going to save the structure of, how you're going to save the structure of the wireframe. So in mine, it's a node connection structure. So node, and the connections are these lines. So depending on how your library decides to save nodes and connections, that's how you would save it back. I think, for instance, in mine, when you hit save there, if you go to the console, this is how it saves, right? The triggers and the options, which I think are an array underneath the response ID. Yeah, it is. And then you have a second string here somewhere that. Oh, no. See, each option it has a connector ID of where it should be connected to. So that's how I decided to do it here. I think you guys also need to figure that out before you can think about saving, and subsequently loading.
Okay. So so analytics after load and saving, which is after just
the canvas,
cleaner canvas and more robust. Yeah, because I understand. To be honest, when I went on this website, I really didn't know what I had to do, what was going on. It doesn't say anything, right?
Yeah, I think as I said, I think the UX. I think they spent too much time drawing up pictures and not enough time. And I'm the kind of person that comes to UX afterwards, as you can see with the green to blue. I mean, colorblind person's nightmare. But anyway, like it's salvageable. And like they had the idea. So you should get a list of your workflows here. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess that's just part of the template they were using. But you should get an idea of your your workflows, or rather your flows. You should be able to edit, delete, create, and then I guess there would be like an analytics tab there that you would also see like how many people have used your workflow. One thing that I need to communicate is that every workflow should be able to generate an endpoint, which is to say, should be able to generate a way for the API, something to point the USSD aggregator to. What happens is that the USSD aggregator collects it interfaces with the USSD session, and they send that to an endpoint. Whatever the response from the endpoint is what they respond back to the USSD user, right? So that is simply, I don't think we went over that, but that is just Africa's talking documentation that you need to worry about. And the API call is just for variables or for parameters. The session ID, the phone number, and the input string. So, somebody should be able to navigate through that endpoint with a session ID. I don't even know if you need the phone number. You just need the session ID to know where they are in the flow and the text, their input. and so what that means is that the Sauti Studio user should be able to generate an endpoint that I give to Africa Stalking.
Okay.
So I think they did that, and that can just very simply be like a parameter with an ID on the end or something. Or sorry, that can just be like a URL with an ID parameter on the end. Mm-hmm. Just a URL for me to give to them.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's kind of fortuitous maybe that you were talking, or that you got an idea of the Sauti marketplace, because that was the same restriction I gave to them, was that like, look, all you guys have is the session ID and the input string. That's what you're working with, and allow someone to navigate through the platform given that. Now, I don't know if the Sauti Studio guys talked with the marketplace guys, because the marketplace guys got kind of figured that out. But there's just certainly a lot of crossover, especially with just the navigation, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's some crossover there. And do you know if the marketplace do you know if it has a team working on it, or?
I don't think so.
Okay, like you don't think it has a team?
Yeah, that might change. I know in our cohort this was the only Sauti project. This might change in the future, where I'm just constantly implementing the projects that you kind of go back to an old project and you rebuild it, or you add on features to it. So I'm not sure about that. Kevin got confused and thought this was the marketplace, but
I get confused. Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. Do you think there are any other questions?
It should be good for now. I think that redoing the canvas is a pretty big project for us.
I mean, that's the product, right? Like that is the thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna spend probably a whole week just kind of talking how we're gonna approach that and studying the code. So I think we have a big chunk from here. I think I don't have any more questions until I actually get into trying to implement it and design it. And I think that, yeah, from what I can see now, just kind of straightforward. You kind of want it to look more like yours, more like Twilio's, more robust and interactable, instead of like you don't know what's going on, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Like I think, as you can see, like you can hit me up if you don't understand something. I don't think the other team was very good at giving updates. And from week like 3 to week 5, they only had 5 weeks. I kept on asking, where's the canvas, and I think the reason for their non-responsiveness is it wasn't on its way, but maybe that's beside the point. So I do like to see it, and I'm just pulling up the studio here. So what happens if we go to the flow here? So you can see they're just doing it in a table. Whatever, this doesn't matter to me. Like what matters to me is the canvas. That's the part I cannot do. So you can see how they've decided to do it. Obviously there's a lot going on, but I do like this.
Drag.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So what was the problem with your version of it that you decided you wanted to give it over to Lambda?
Most of the projects that we have do have a version. So the Sauti is a small company. It's 5 people, and I'm the only guy with developer experience. I'm not industry trained, and also I'm a bit restricted on my time with other stupid stuff or silly stuff. My PhD, and so there's some things in the way. I wasn't happy with I wasn't terribly happy with the design. That's one of the reasons, and as well, I couldn't. Well, I just wanted to see if it could be done better. I had trouble making this draggable, and that had to do with these being draggable. I'm very happy for you guys to just rip this and redo it. Like I think maybe that even just may save you some time. There are small like problems, and I think maybe that's always the case, is that you actually, yeah, like I think this it's these like it's small little bugs like that that I didn't have time to solve, but I was always telling Mary, the CEO, that studio's like 90% of the way there. It's 90% of the way, but I just can't commit the time to fixing these like last mile problems. I do think if you guys rip this, then that works fine by me. Rip it and make the make it better design wise. And I do think the JavaScript behind it did start to get a bit out of hand. I was just messy in my implementation. Maybe I should just send you guys. It's a WordPress plugin, so maybe I should just send it to you guys and see what you think of it. The other thing is that like it's using a library called JS Plum, and there's an advanced version and there's the current version, and the advanced version, I think this is cool. Although I don't exactly know, but oh yeah, I think this is where I was coming from. I think you guys should be using this. This is just the way I would do it. Oh, I guess the other problem with mine was, and that was where I wanted some of the design part of it, is that you get things like this, like what is going on here? Where are these going? And that's just stuff I couldn't quite figure out. Oh yeah, so I'm using the like basic. They have an advanced version for like $400 or something. Yeah, no, I'm okay. And so I'm using the basic and kind of building some of the functions that the developer application has. And that kind of got to just be annoying that I wanted to do basic stuff. But anyway, so maybe I'll just send you guys. I'll probably just send you this plugin. I think it would not be a bad starting point to just start from this, but it is a bit of a nightmare on the coding side.
Okay. I mean, we'll take a look at it and weigh our options. Take a look at the old code base, see how much we could change, and if we can make it turn that into this.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But as I said, I still prefer this over this.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Lance, this is again very helpful, just like yesterday.
No worries.
I think we'll probably talk again on next Wednesday, not tomorrow.
Yeah, fine.
We gotta digest all this, come up with a plan, see what we think, and do some research, and then probably get back to you. Then I'll be in touch with you, send you emails. Maybe if you have any questions or anything throughout the week. But as far as a meeting, I think maybe next Wednesday.
Cool.
All right, Lance. Well, we'll keep in touch. All right.
All right. See you later.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Bye.